Everyone. Good evening. Good evening. This is Femi here. And with me tonight is my beautiful wife, Odufa. Amazing. Good to have you join us today. To all those who have joined us on the different platforms, on YouTube and on Zoom, thanks for finding the time to be part of today's engagement. As you usually know, yeah, it's always an exciting time, interesting time to hang out with every one of us, even as we discuss the things that matters to us as families. And today is going to be exciting and exceptional. I'm happy to be part of this edition. It's a family life special, so you've not seen this one before. Yeah, and today we're looking at a very interesting topic in our best interest. What were you thinking when you came up with this topic?
Okay, I was thinking about the fact that when people get married, it takes a process and intentionality to blend in as a team.
Yeah.
And begin to think from I to us, from my to our.
Wow.
So I feel like the more I interact with couples, the more I get the vibes that some couples are what I now tag independently married. Like they are married, but trying to pursue life as though they are single.
Yeah.
And it's not realistic in building a thriving family. So it's to awaken the mindset and whip up that sense of responsibility that everything I do is not just isolated to me. It must be in our best interest.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Thanks for that opener, where I dissolves and becomes us, and my becomes our. And so that's what we're looking at in our best interest, the making of a dream team. Yeah. The making of a dream team. And truth be told, the greatest marriages are built on teamwork. It's as simple as that. When you see each other as a team. And the beauty of every strong marriage is in the details. The beauty of every strong marriage is in the details. And if you look closely at every strong marriage, you will notice that the most successful marriage relationship have something major in common, and in the big adventures, as well as the little day-to-day grind, the happiest and healthiest couples are those who do life together, not individually, but as a team. So those who do life together as a team, they turn out to be the healthiest and the happiest couple you find. So their predominant mode of interaction, is not competition, is as a collaborative team. So they embrace collaboration above competition because, understanding what teams are, where a team doesn't work, where people still live as individuals is when they see themselves as competition. And we discovered that amongst many marriages today, or individual relationships, you see more of competition than collaboration, and so that's what we're going to be looking at today. It's important to be able to build a dream team when you are collaborative as a team. And you just understand that it's not to eradicate competition completely, but just understand the kind of competition you should be engaged in. What kind of competition should you be engaged in? And it's a competition not within, it's a competition against what is without. And so that's why the subject of considering it as a team is very, very powerful. Because everyone is playing to win, but not to win against each other. It's to win against whatever wants to affect you as a team or whatever wants to stop you from achieving your dream as a team. So that's going to be the center of our conversation today. And welcome to every one of us. Thanks for joining. And those who will stream this later, we know you're going to be transformed by this conversation. So just sit back, relax. You can get a cup of water, a cup of juice. Just soak it in. If you have questions, you can write it down. And send them to us or post it in the comments, and we'll definitely respond to your questions. So. Now, in today's conversation, we're going to be focusing on a very interesting pattern, an analogy, in terms of marriage. And that's looking at marriage as football team, you know.
Yes, if you're a Chelsea fan,
Yeah.
if you're a Man City fan, you know, Man City, they are the champions, and it feels good to be a winner, really. My sons are Man City fans, so yay! So, oh, sorry, my husband is a, what's the name of that your club now?
Excuse me.
Oh, Chelsea, yeah.
Oh.
No pun intended.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to be looking at marriage is like a football team. And yes, marriage indeed is like a football team. It's and it's like a football team playing in the league year in, year out. And everybody has an agenda to win. I don't think anybody comes into a Premier League season expecting to lose. No, they want to win and they want to climb up that table. So every marriage is like a football team. And it's like a football team playing in a league year in, year out with a clear agenda to win. And by extension, building a thriving and peaceful society, you know, and so that's the mindset and the concept to which we want to approach family life, you know, tonight. But being a team, it takes a lot to be a team. I believe you want to share.
Yeah. So, you know, in football, like she said, it's year in, year out. So there is always an opportunity for a fresh start, you know. Yeah. So you could be mid-season right now. You could be at the beginning of your own season, you know, irrespective of where you are in the season, there's always an opportunity, you know, to change. And that's why there are transfer windows. Transfer windows, you know, simply means that you could get in new players.
Yeah.
You know, every time there are also breaks for you to be able to increase in your formation. Yeah. So we're going to be looking at, you know, what really makes a team, what makes a team outstanding, you know, and the basic characteristics of that. And first of all, is the quality of the player. Yeah,
that's what
the
makes
quality of the player
stand out.
You know, makes a team stand out. So if it reflects on the overall outcome of that team, the quality of the player, the ability to blend in to a team.
Yeah, so it's not enough to have. It's not enough to have what's his name, Ronaldo, have Messi, have what are all the major players? I don't really know their names, you know, and you have them in one team. Yeah. But they cannot blend into a team. You know, if everybody begins to play the way they want, play the I'm the best, I'm the champion, and they just want to play the way they want, they're not going to get the outcome. There's going to be a lot of confusion on the field. Yeah. So the ability of couples to blend in as a team is what determines if they are ready to win, you know, championships, so to speak. Yes.
And there are a lot of histories, you know, history in terms of teams not performing with beautiful players, you know, good players.
Yeah.
But they're unable to blend in as a team. Yeah. That affects or leads to the overall outcome of the team not optimizing their performance.
It does.
Yeah. Then superior playing pattern.
Oh yes.
Oh my God.
Very important.
Oh my God. You know, in football, the one they call the special one. You know, and many people know. So you see, it's a combination of a whole lot. If you have the quality players and you know they know how to blend into teams, and you don't have a superior pattern or a superior playing pattern, there is no way you know you can be a dream team. There's no way. Yeah, so it's important that you must have a superior pattern. You must pay attention to having a superior pattern if you are going to win as a team. So the question is, as a family, as a couple, what's your pattern?
What are your patterns? And then there's another important one again that qualifies the team, and that's what?
Tactical formation. Tactical formation. Oh, this is very important. You see, every team has their own formation. So, you know, in football, I love football a lot. So things have changed over the years. People play 3-5-2. You know, people play, you know, 4-4-2, 4-2-4. So these are formations, and they are formations you would take to be able to, you know, have everything you have learned to be able to deploy them effectively. So in marriage, you need to understand your tactical formation. Yeah. You know, what formation do you have that works for you? And I know you're going to be taking us through that journey today.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah. So there's something that also happens to a team. You know, you have all this, you know, you have quality players, you are able to blend into a team, you have superior playing patterns, you have, you know, the tactical formation, but ignorance of the play patterns, as in your opponents, can be an issue. If you have all these things in place, but you don't know the tactics of your opponents, it becomes an issue, because that means you don't know how to tackle them. So all of these things are important.
So finally, before we leave this, remember I was telling you something earlier that all 20 teams, for instance, in Premier League, all 20 teams come in with 0 points. With 0 points. So it's not that some came advantage above the others.
Oh yeah, that's important to know.
So all of them come with 0 points. Yeah, but these 4 things that we've just mentioned, will determine the outcome. If they begin to climb. So they all have 11 players, they all have coaches, they're entitled to everything. Everything is entitled. So every marriage, there is no magic out there. Yeah, there's no magic. When you see marriage is doing well, it's not magical. Everybody has the same, is still one man, one wife. It depends on your situation. It's still human beings. It's not somebody married to an angel.
Yeah.
Even by the person's attitude, you say, oh, this is an angel. But this is still, everybody has the same opportunity, the same God. You have access to everything, but the outcomes are different. Why? And these are the things we're going to be looking at.
Yeah. So every, I'm trying to share my screen, and I'm hoping that everybody can see it at this point.
Screen.
So there are 4 levels of teams that exist in a championship. Of course, there are 4 levels, and it's very critical that every couple identify which team that they are. Even if there's the dream team and the mindset for championship, you'll find that there are some couples that actually fall into certain categories, unfortunately. So of course we have the championship, winners. Everybody expects them to win, and they do win. They always occupy that top 4, spots, year in, year out. You see them there. So they do all they can to win, and they do. They mostly do win. That's why they get to that top 4 level. So those are the championship winners. And then we have the mid-table teams. This mid-table, they are not interested in winning. They just want to be counted amongst the teams. So you have to be asking yourself, what kind of marriage, what kind of team are me and my spouse, what kind of team are we building? Are we championship, or are we mid-table? Championship, we're doing all that we need to do to win. Or are we mid-table, that we are just okay with being married? I married for status. Everybody knows I'm married. You've ticked that society bucket list, and then you're okay. And then there's the perennial relegation team. These ones, every year, they survive by a miracle. You will sometimes see them on the table, and then they'll fall out of the table. If you watch football, you know what I mean. So you have to also ask yourself as a couple, are we the perennial, or what they call it, perennial relegation team that just survived by a miracle? They are just struggling to survive. And sadly, most of these people don't even seek help or seek guidance on what to do to step up. They don't even have the money to buy players, or get a proper coach and all of those kinds of factors. And then we have the relegated team. They are constantly losing points. They are constantly trading blames. And this one say my wife, this one say my husband, this one says my wife, this one says my husband. Nobody wants to take any responsibility. And so they drag out that way until they drop out of the marriage, and that's it. But the main thing that everybody must be fighting for, the main thing that every couple should be, is the championship team. It's a championship team. These are the people, and as a believer and as a Christian, the goal should be championship. Because that's what it says. Everybody expects you to win, and you do. Because you have the advantage of light. You have the advantage of truth. So you should be able to win. No believer should be in a marriage, being a mid-table team, being in relegation. It's not in our identity. It's not in our culture. It's not in our kingdom culture. So we thrive for championship, which is the edge of dominion, so to speak. So this is so key that we understand, and this is so key that we know, because it's this mindset of wanting to win that actually drives the actions that we are willing to take, to win. So it is possible for everybody for every marriage, really. It is possible for every marriage to win the championship. Of course, we are using a football, analogy, but of course it's not football. So we're not saying the table is not enough. This time the table fits in. Everybody can fit into, the top leagues, so but it requires some level of work on both sides, and so this is what we want to share tonight. So what do we need, as a couple? What are the ingredients that are necessary in making a dream team? And it will also be helpful to you, even if you're in relegation, and it's okay. It's not your fault. You are just disempowered. There are no bad marriages. Well, we often say in FSEC, in family systems, there are no bad marriages. They are just disempowered people, who if they come into knowledge, and proper guidance, they'll be able to build a thriving marriage. Everybody has the capacity to win, to win championship, to have a thriving marriage, which is what we're talking about. So we're going to go into the crux of the matter. And so I think we should share the table. Yeah. Sorry, we keep putting in the slide, and because we want you to be able to see our face, especially for those that are streaming on YouTube. We want to put up the slide. Those on YouTube can't really get to see us.
I'm sure you do that. Thanks for sharing that. It's important for us to understand that you were once an individual. Yeah. You shouldn't be operating any less when you are now married to someone. Yeah. So marriage is not designed to bring you down, but to elevate you. And that's the championship mindset. That's the championship, setting where, because you are married, you operate at the championship level. So if you're operating at the relegated level, there are things that you need to see. There are things that you need to do. Like you said, you need to get the requisite knowledge. Ignorance is not toterated because you have the opportunity to actually be on the championship level. Yeah. So I think we're moving on to, I guess you can see the screen. Yeah. This is very important. This is football.
So I put this on my status, and I remember putting question mark, and I said we're going to unveil, the formation that can help you win, as a family, as in your marriage. Yes. So
you discovered that, this is actually, marriage is actually on the field. It's not a training ground, as it were. It's on the field because you are doing it daily.
Yeah.
When you are married, there's no excuse.
Yeah.
So you are actually in the field, and you must ensure that you have the right team, you have the right players, you have the right formation, to be able to execute daily as you live. Yeah, and I love this analogy of this football pitch. I believe you can see this formation. It's a 4-4-2 formation, but how you were able to put these things together, I cannot tell. But I just know that they are that powerful, So we're going to be starting from, when I looked at what the goalkeeper is, everybody can see the goalkeeper's position. Talent. Clearly. And I remember when we're discussing, so the goalkeeper may look like not significant, but trust me, if the goalkeeper is not available, everyone in the team is confused.
Yeah.
Because everyone in the team is trying to protect the goalpost. So what determines the score of life at the end of the day is how open your goalpost is. Do you understand? And and how vulnerable your marriage is.
Yeah.
So one of the things that secures your marriage, because you see that small goalpost, if the goalpost does not exist in a football, there is no football. You understand? So, but what guides that goalpost to ensure that your marriage is preserved? It lives as long as it should live. It stands a better position to win, is the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
And you call it talent. I can't get it. I need you to explain what talent is about. And one more thing about the goalkeepers you must know is that their uniforms are always exceptional. And they always wear number one. So they sound like number one. So what is number one?
Okay, so talent is love.
Wow.
So talent is love, and is a very, very key ingredient in building a thriving marriage, in winning championship. Talent is key, which is love. And you know what talent is? Talent is a natural ability, because love is in each and every one of us. And especially as a believer, when we talk about love, we're not just talking about the, love that, because it's easy to say, oh, eros love, that's the love that we know that exists between, a man and a woman. But it's just even beyond that, it's also the agape love, which is in our DNA, because we are God's children, and we have his nature of love in us. And so love is the talent that is required, that's the person that is at the goalpost, protecting and making sure that your opponents do not score. That's like the core, and so we all have the ability to love, really. Everyone has it. We have it in raw state. But love is dented when we've gone through different experiences, maybe our family background, maybe our significant emotional experiences and our environment. Something happens to you and you begin to question, and you hear people say, love is overrated. There's no true love, things like that. Those are expressions of experiences or environment or upbringing. There are things that have impacted on our capacity to love. So even if we had love, love was natural in us, inbuilt as we came into the world. There are things that have impacted us. So the thing that a couple needs to always ask themselves, each couple needs to ask this question: what does love mean to me? Because you need to be sure that your concept of love has not been dented. And while we cannot go into every detail of this conversation, we just need to bring forth the key things that we need you to know. So you need to ask yourself, what does love mean to me? How do I want to be loved? Do I even love myself? What could be standing in the way, of me, of my ability to receive love? Because sometimes we say, oh, my spouse doesn't love me, and maybe your spouse doesn't even know how to love you. We're going to talk about love language later, somewhere ahead, but you need to be able to ask yourself, what does love really mean to me? So you can communicate it to your spouse, you can communicate it to each other, so that you know what exactly love means to you. And you also know whether you love yourself, because the degree to which you love yourself determines how receptive you will be to even receiving love. Because sometimes when you see love, would you even know that it is love? Or even when somebody is even treating you less, when somebody is not giving you sufficient love, you don't even know it, because you don't even love yourself enough to realize that this is not love, and all of that. So and thinking to yourself that you deserve better. So these are questions that couples need to ask themselves. And if there's something that is standing in the way of your capacity to love, it's something that you need to deal with. It could be maybe a past trauma, an experience of a breakup or something, but you just need to also check that out. And we're going to see the people that can actually help you determine, of course, it's coaches, or counselors or therapists that can help you unveil, why your ability to really receive or express love may have been dented. So that's talent. So we have talents. We don't have much time,
so let me just add to this. So there is no way a team can let me use the word. There's no way a team can outgrow the importance of a goalkeeper.
No.
So this idea of after 10 years, after 15 years, let me play after. So you must ensure that your talent, which is love, is vibrant, is a talent, is a raw state. You need to fan it to flame. Thanks for sharing that. Very powerful. So we're going to the next cadre. This next set of people, they are key for anything.
What do they call them?
The defenders. The defenders. So if you must prevent your goalkeeper from being exposed, you need to have strong. You get it now. So you need to have strong defenders. For your love not to be exposed, and wear out. Because a goalkeeper can wear out. It can have so many saves because the defenders are not in place. And I know you're going to be sharing that. From what I see on the screen, we have 4 tough defenders. 4 tough. You want to take that?
So these defenders, they are so critical. Every player is critical to a football team. So we can always say, okay, my son even asked me, why he was looking at this. I said, so mommy, which one would you say is the most important? I said, I don't really know which one is it, because they are all important. So these people are the defenders. So the defenders is just as we have talent. We said talent is natural, right? But skills is developed. Skills are developed. And this is something that every couple needs to understand and need to be able to comprehend and accept, that skills are developed in marriage. You don't just come into marriage and expect to know everything. You need to have a deliberate approach to learning that helps you develop the skills that you need. And so you'll be asking, what kind of skills do I need? Just as you would develop skills for your career, for your job, for your profession, you develop skills for marriage. And it's both couples must develop these skills. Yeah. So what are these skills? You have the communication skills, because there's a difference between talking and communicating, and there's a difference between communicating and communicating effectively. So those are the skills that you must develop. You must develop effective communication skills, both you and your spouse. When you see that you are constantly having misunderstandings, is a call that your communication needs to be your mode of communication needs to be addressed. And then you also have to develop your relational skills. How do I relate with people? How do I relate with my husband? How do I relate with my children? How do I relate with the people around us? Your relational skills are important. You will not say, this is how I am, I don't like to relate to people. No, you have to relate. You have to relate, because your family life depends on your capacity to be able to relate. And so even all these skills that we are talking about, you can ask your spouse, so how do I relate? Do I relate with you very well? If you have to score me on a scale of 1 to 10, how do I relate? You may think that you know how to relate with your spouse, but ask your spouse, really, how do I relate? Do I relate with you well? So relationship skills. Then also appearance is a skill. Your how you look is also a skill that you can develop. You will not say, oh, when we got married, when you got married, you were wearing shorts at home. Now that you are married, after maybe like 1 child, 2 children, you are now tying wrapper, or you are now wearing one big gown. Or when you want to go out, you don't care because you're already married and taking them off the market, so I can dress anyhow. No, appearance is a skill. And if it's something that is important to your spouse, it's something that you need to consider. Even for yourself, you should be concerned about how you look. You want to dress the way you want to be addressed. So these are skills. So you can also develop sex and romance skills. These are things that you can learn. Financial management skills, organizational skills. These are skills that you can develop. And there are some areas where one spouse may be more developed in a certain skill than the other. And it's okay, as long as the other person is actually putting in effort. So in a case where you have that the wife is the one who has a better financial management skill, man of God, it's not important that I'm the man of the house, I must run the finances. No, your wife is a better, skillful manager. She knows how to do it. Let her run the finances, manage the finances. And that's where trust comes in. You may say, I don't trust. Marriage is, you have to develop some level of trust, because it's a team. So in a team, you want to share the responsibility. So whoever is skilled in the other area can teach the other one. If I'm low on romance, my spouse should be able to teach me. I should be teachable. I should be able to learn, and I should be willing to develop. So these are skills that we develop. That's one defender. Then we have vision. Vision is so critical. Vision is so critical because this is what you see as a couple, is what you see. What do I see? What do we see? And both couples have to be able to have a common vision. You cannot say, my own goal is to raise 30 million people, for the Lord. I just want to use that example. Then my husband's one is to raise 2,000 people. Both good visions, but they are contrary. And not having your vision, not having a single view can be a problem. Because the Bible says, can two walk together except they agree? And then again, it says, without vision, the people cast off restraint. Anything is acceptable when there is no vision. We take anything because we don't have, there are no stakes, nothing. So it's important that every family, every marriage, you have a team, and you have a vision. And vision is not, I have a vision. No, it is clearly written. You know what that vision is, and it's not by the power invested in me as the husband, I've given you a vision, or by the power invested in me as the wife, this is my vision. No, some of you can sit down and actually talk. What kind of marriage do you want to build? And then when you can even both write down the kind of marriage you want to build, and then you pick out the common denominators, the common interests, and then you merge it into one vision, so that you can be moving in the same direction and nobody feels like they are being forced into something that they don't want to do. So it has to be agreed by both parties, and your vision must be relatable. It must not be vague. It must have an identity to who we are. It must show who you are. It must be able to qualify you. So you can say, so if you say, who are we? Are we a team? Are we a nation? Are we a tribe? So there should be something that says this is who we are. Then it has to also have a qualifier. We are a team of loving, or we are a team of happy. There's something that must qualify it. And then there must be a people that will be impacted by your vision, and then there must be those are the primary people that are impacted by your vision, and then there must be a secondary people. That's if the primary, our own now is to reach other families, right? Yeah. So if our other families are reached, so what's the secondary, target is society gets better, because the more families are thriving, the more the society thrives as well. Sure. So these are all the things that must be embedded in your vision. And so from the vision, of course, that's where you bet your values, which is another defender. So your vision now bets your values. What are values? Values are what is like the road, is like the route that you take into achieving that vision. Yeah. So what are the things that we must do, the character that we must imbibe that would help us get to that place that we see, that marriage I want to build? What are the things that can help us get to that destination? That is what values are. So what are the things that I must do if I want to build a team of fun, loving family? What are the things I must do? That means there must be fun in my values. Yeah. Because people often feel like, values must be holy, integrity, service, love. And if you collapse all these things, they can all even go into love. Yeah. Do you understand? So you want to pick out values that drive, what you want to do. And those values must be taken by all. These values must be so rooted in your home that when a third party comes, and that third party, whether it's your mother, your father, whoever comes, must know that these are the values that you imbibe in your family. Sure. And any attempt to want to distort that values, you will be deported, because your family is like a nation. It's like a nation. And as you are building your nation, whoever is not standing with you in your vision and trying to abide in your values, that means they want to destroy your nation. And so they are not, so you have to, you and your wife will not discuss, see, honey, this person is not, these are the powers of this thing.
Sorry, how do you say it in FSEC? When a nation is trying to, or somebody is trying to...
You deport. You consider the person for deportation. You consider the person for deportation. I learned it from my coach, one of my senior coach Dean Marshall, and her husband's program. Yes, you will be deported from our nation. Yes. Yeah. So then another defender is purpose. And all these are interrelated: vision, values, purpose. Purpose is, why did I get married? And it's very important. Yeah. Because your why is going to drive a lot of actions that you take. It's going to drive your level of intentionality. Sure. It is. Yeah. It is. Because when you are saying, I have values, I have vision, there is something that is driving, I think, is your reason. Because if you don't understand if you don't understand your why, you will not understand, when you are winning. You will not appreciate it when you are winning, so to speak. And so your purpose is something that will be able to stand the test of time, that no matter what happens, this is why we are together. This is why I chose you as my husband. This is why I chose you as my wife. This is why I am a wife. This is why I am a husband. So there has to be a strong reason why both of you are together. It cannot be to tick a societal status quo of I am married. It cannot be to have children. It cannot be what again? Because my age. Because once all those things are accomplished, then there is no reason again. There is no reason. So it has to be something bigger. Sure. So you can say marriage in its entirety, really, and as we say in FSEC, it's God's nation building system. It's God's way of enriching the society. He says, go into the world, multiply, subdue, have dominion, so it is way of enriching humanity, bringing light into humanity through families. And that's how you must see it, so that you can have a sense of personal responsibility to saying there is an overall goal that must be achieved with my family, and that's purpose. So those are the defenders. I'm sorry, we're trying to cover so that we can get to...
Please, you can clap your hands. You can just appreciate this amazing course. Thank you. Great work. So we're going to move in. to the next set. I believe you can see the screen, so these are the midfielders. Yeah. The midfielders, they play a strategic role.
Yeah, they do.
So to convert from whatever they receive from the defense, yeah, and translate into winning indeed, you need these midfielders. So you could have these defenders, they could do all the work. If there's no one to receive, you understand? If there's no one to receive, the ball, because at the end of the day, the goal actually is to take the ball from the goalkeeper to the other post to score, to win every day. Exactly. So that's the goal. Yeah. So to move it and to move this ball in a skillful way, to navigate through life's challenges, things that throw themselves at marriage, will it be time, will it be various temptations, things, culture, society, things changing, whatever can navigate us and move the ball further are these midfielders, and they are very strategic. I like to speak about
I love the midfielders.
Yeah.
I do. I love them.
Examples like the Mercies, the JJ Okochas, those are midfielders.
I'm trying
the Mikel Obi.
So those are midfielders.
Yeah.
But
skillful guys,
It's difficult to choose which player is the most important. All the players are relevant to the team.
True.
Yeah. So we have fitness, and fitness are, habits, routines. What are the things that we must do as a couple every day? What are the things that we must do as a couple that we do together, as a couple? Because life can get really busy, really, and things can take away our focus and our attention. And that's why it's important to create certain routines and certain, rituals that you must do as a family. Like, my family goes out, every day, every Sunday, we must have, family dinner, we must have day that we must discuss, we must have fellowship, every day, or we must have a day that two of us can pray, so these are things that we must always consider when we are talking about fitness, because it's fitness, so it's like exercise. That what must we do, and then we're also asking, in fitness, you're also asking, what are my aspirations? What are the things that I'm pursuing? And then you must also ask, what are the things that my spouse is pursuing? So that both of you can, because every day you go out to do something, you go out to either earn a living or you're doing something. So what are the routines? So you have to pay attention to the routines and especially the things that have kept your marriage, to that point, or the things that you were doing when you first got married, because it's easy to, when you exercise and you put into a particular shape, you're like, now I have the flat tummy, I don't need to exercise anymore. No, fitness has to be consistent. Whatever it is that you were doing at the beginning of your relationship or before you got married has to be sustained, and that's where fitness comes in. And so you're saying, we're going to go out, I'm going to pursue you, we're going to do Valentine, we're going to celebrate birthdays, we're going to go out on spontaneous trips, we're going to go and camp somewhere, so those are fitness. Those are the things that you must do, regularly, to say, okay, these are the things that we do to keep our relationship, thriving. And you must also pay attention to what are the things that I do that can get my spouse, upset, so that you don't repeat those habits. You don't repeat those because that is fitness. So you're trying to stay away,
take away
remove
the excesses,
remove the good habits, imbibe the good, remove the bad habits. By all means, remove the bad habits, imbibe the good habits. So those are the things that we pursue. So then we have team spirit, and team spirit is so critical in building a thriving marriage. Remember, we're talking about the midfielders, right? So the team spirit is very important. So it also goes to, we are in this together. We are
in this together.
So whether you are the goalkeeper, whether you are the defender, we are in this together. Any role that you play, we are in this together. Whatever we do, we're in this together. Everything that I do as a wife or he does as a husband should be for our common interest. We must never feel like we're isolated or we are not mutually respected. Team spirit means there's mutual respect, there's mutual understanding of each other. It means that we both value the inputs that we bring in. That's team spirit.
True.
And it must be consistent. If you find that you're in a point where you feel like you no longer have respect, for your wife or for your husband, you need to check it, and you need to rebuild that level of respect, because there must be mutual respect. There must be a feeling of that everybody's collective interest is represented.
Yeah.
So nobody feels like they are being left out in what's happening, even in the family and even in life. So that's team spirit, and it's necessary for winning championships, for building a thriving marriage.
In this team spirit, it's very, very important, because this is where competition comes in. To affect and to destroy team spirit. And competition in terms of spouses, a study was done, and a lot of, especially this high level, celebrities and the rest, and they discovered that one of the challenges they have is this issue of competition. When you are comfortable and you
not just celebrities, when both spouses are highly placed, they are professionals, so they are making a lot of money. So now there's this,
or you are high flying in your profession, so you need to be able to watch that.
And even where there is a gap, where it is that the you have agreed that the woman would stay, will be available, for the kids while the man goes to work, or maybe you have agreed that the man would be the one to do stay home work, while the woman goes out to, maybe because her own, qualification brings in more income, and you have made that, that agreement, and then, but nobody feels like, because you are earning more than me. No, that's not team spirit. Team spirit is whatever we earn is for the family, is for our collective good. And whatever God has blessed us with as a resource is because of all of us. So you will not say, it's my money. It's your money. God, he said he blessed them. He blessed them. So as a couple, he blesses them. Doesn't bless you. So whatever God blesses you with is for the good of your family as a couple. True. So that's team spirit. And you may say, that won't happen. If there are things that have happened that have made you, lose that team spirit, it needs to be addressed, because you can't win championship without team spirit. And then there's also understanding. Understanding is also a midfielder. And understanding is so key, because you need to have to be able to understand, your spouse. What are the things that my spouse likes? Those are the questions you must ask yourself. And you have to be intentional in asking, those questions. You have to have the ability to read your spouse. Because you have to understand, because even the Bible says that, it's not just a house is built through wisdom, through knowledge, through understanding. And that understanding, the understanding is an understanding, of course, of what marriage means, an understanding of yourself, an understanding of your spouse. You need to be always be able to ask yourself, what does my spouse like? What are my spouses? What is my spouse's personality? So what are his tendencies? I know we are all familiar with melancholy, sanguine, and all of that. Even if we at the family systems, we have different names that we call, different personalities. We have a different approach to that. But I'll just use all those sanguine and all of that for the sake of this, conversation. So you have to know. So what are the tendencies of this, my spouse's personality, my spouse's nature, his way of operating? So when I crack a joke and my spouse does not really laugh, maybe he doesn't really have a sense of humor, and things like that. So these are the things that you need to understand. Or maybe I say something and I'm joking, but my spouse, because of his personality, does not, take jokes. They are offended. But you are seeing it as though he's making mockery of me, but it's just teasing. Like me, I tease a lot, and if my husband does not know that about me, he's going to be offended a lot, because I'm always teasing. And he too, he has learned it in the marriage. He knows that. Before when we got married, if I tease my husband, it will take him a while to tease me back, to yab me back. But now, if I say what? Before he won't preempt it, before I will yab, he has already yabbed it first.
Oh my God.
So these things like that. So your ability to be able to read your spouse, understand your spouse, your ability to understand your opponents, that's the things that are likely to stand, in the way of your relationship. Those are the things that you really need to understand. Your individual differences. While you're not trying I'm not trying to make my husband me, and my husband is not trying to make me him.
Sure.
So we want to understand our personality. And it doesn't mean that we're going to embrace the weaknesses. It means that we're going to support you through your weaknesses. That's because of course there are areas of our personalities that may not contribute to us thriving as a couple. So those areas needs to be addressed. So we're not saying, this is my personality, this is how I am. No, this is how I am. If it's not working, if it's not producing the results that you want, then there needs to be an intentional, approach of change towards it. So we are encouraging each other in our strengths, and we are also supporting each other in our weaknesses to grow. And so it's teamwork. So one person cannot know everything. As I cannot know everything that there is to know about my husband, understanding, and then he doesn't understand me. So that's why it's teamwork. So that's a Midfielder,
Honey, before you leave this understanding, please, I know that we're looking at time, but you mentioned something earlier. You're understanding the different stages of your spouse. Where your spouse
That's where we're going to talk about continuous development.
Yeah, so you need to understand, where he was. You could be probably, in the workshop. You use the workshop example, transiting, across professions, across different stages of his life, and understanding how that relates. People don't stay the same. Yeah. So I just want you to speak to that briefly.
Okay. Yeah, so that's where we can now move to continuous development. Okay, so that was your angle. Yeah. So that's continuous development, and that's why understanding is so key, because it's progressive. So there's continuous development in the sense that you understand that this person that I married is not going to stay the same.
Okay.
So change is not bad. Change is only bad when it doesn't carry everybody else along and it doesn't serve the common interest, of the family.
True.
So there are changes like, okay, when I married my husband, I'm not talking about my husband. Okay, when I married my husband, he was, which level were you now? A trainee? No, he was a couple.
Yeah.
He just a couple.
No. I finished.
So a trainee. So he was like a trainee, because he just finished. So he was a trainee. And so as he has been, and when he married me, I was just an admin. I was working in the marketing department, of a company when he met me. But over time, I'm no longer working in that place anymore. Now I'm a family life coach. I'm a family systems engineer, and now he is managing operations, for his company. So we're not the same. So our perspective on certain things may have changed. Our tastes has also changed. Our environment has changed. Not in a bad way that we're now being influenced negatively. No, there are good changes. But with good changes, everybody must be carried along in that process. So I'm not expecting, my spouse to want to go to Mama something, those booker. Maybe I go to my spouse's office and say, honey, let's go and eat. Let's go to that this mama, this person that is there. And you expect your husband to leave and come and stand at mama. When clients come, what is he going to tell them that he's doing there? And I'm not saying that is a bad I'm not saying that is a bad thing to do, but I'm just trying to use that as an illustration. If it's something that two of you vibe, like, I only know go chop that mama put, and you people go, that's fine. I'm just trying to paint the picture of how, our tastes can change and different things can change. And it's important that we are studying our spouse and we are also marking the development, the growth. So what is my spouse reading now? So what am I reading now? What are we reading now? What are the things that interest us now? So what are the things what strategy do we adopt now? In certain scenarios, when we got married, we're by ourselves. Now we have children, so what are we going to do? How are we going to develop ourselves to boost our parenting skills? How are we going to develop ourselves to be able to balance, learn balance? These are all the things that you need to do in continuous development. So how do we learn, how to raise children together, where one person is not feeling like I'm doing all the work? So how do we learn how to co-parent? So, how do we handle, different things that go into continuous development? So you're thinking of which relationship book you cannot say I read a relationship book or a marital book or listen to a marital message, years ago, it can't, that one message is not enough to sustain you through, because different seasons will require, a certain version of you to show up, even as a spouse, so it's something that you have to be intentional about, and we often say in a Thrive Family Network, uneven development is not allowed.
It limits the potential of any union.
Say that again.
Uneven development limits the potential of any marriage, any union, any relationship.
Yeah. So I like that part. So don't say, oh, my husband, the husband, you're just going, you're just growing, you're just developing yourself. You're not thinking of your spouse or the wife, you're just developing yourself. You're not saying, oh, see what I'm reading. Couples should be interested in their continuous development. And so with all this, we've seen the goalkeeper, we've seen the defenders, we've seen the midfielders. Now we have, the technical crew and strategy. Yeah. I know in a typical football, setting, you would want to see the what they call it. You want to see the other team at the other post.
No, you actually see the strikers.
Okay.
Yeah. So you see the strikers, they complete the formation.
Yeah.
So they are the ones that are the finishers. So traditionally you will not expect to see technical crew. Technical crew are supposed to be on the sideline advising you.
Yeah.
But when you now see technical crew in the field, just know that team is a winning team because they bring in all the wisdom. You understand, all their independent wisdom, they bring it to bear. In the field to join the team. So before you transit fully, I remember we were also talking. We talked about the midfielder. That one thing is important. In fitness, team spirit, understanding, and continuous development is awareness.
Oh.
You need to be aware. You need to have heightened awareness of your
it's
state.
It's interesting that you say that because a lot of couples sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
it's just things to happen autopilot. Some
sleep, some go unconscious, some even die.
Wow.
As in they are not awakened to the realities of things that are happening. Instead of you to be going through life is going through you.
Yeah.
So it's awareness that makes you understand, are we keeping fit? Is there team spirit?
Yeah.
How much understanding of ourselves and our love language, our personality, are we able to comprehend? What has changed? In continuous development, what has changed? Do you still want to be loved by gifts?
Yeah.
Do you still want to be loved by quality time? So it's awareness that creates room for all these things. Like maybe before, when you got married initially, maybe let's say maybe my love language was, quality time when we got married. Why quality time is a must-have for all couples, of course, but there are some love languages that are more, on the high side for some persons than the other. So now maybe my love language is now gifts, and you're still doing as if it's only quality time that I want. I say I want gifts. So these are things that happen when you are aware. So it's important that couples stay aware, stay awake. I know that we say only dead people can make a marriage work. Yes, that is true, because you are dying to your ego, you are dying to what you think that to grasp what is the reality of what can really move you forward as a team. But when we say awake, we mean be alert to the things that are happening, between you and your spouse.
Yeah.
And yourself. You should be able to know when things about you are changing. Like if your love language or your personality, let's say when you got married to me, I was more of a creative convertible. That's what we call somebody that is outgoing, and it's just out there. I think maybe they call it a sanguine or something, outgoing. Yeah. So now maybe in the course of our marriage, I got a job in an organization where I had to lead a team. And then I begin to develop myself. And now I have these leadership tendencies, and you are still looking at me with the eye of play and everything. So these are the things that you have to be aware of. And couples need to understand that these things happen. And I guess is in that level of awareness is when you now really begin to see that you need strategy and you need a technical plan. Which are the last, last but not the least, are the strategy and the technical crew in winning, in creating a dream team. You know, you need strategy and you need a technical crew by all means necessary. And this is the part that is not common, you know, in Africa, because, and I'm sorry to say Africa, because we are so busy, as in we are so caught up with, there is a lot going on, and it takes a lot of intentionality to be able to say, oh, I need to pay attention, you know, to my marriage or to the things that happen in your marriage. So you need strategy, and you always need strategy, because especially if you're already winning championship, let's say you're already thriving in your marriage, you need strategy. You need to be, and if you are still coming up, maybe you are still in relegation, you're trying to come up, you need strategy. So you're saying, so which strategy do we use now? When we're married and just us, we're able to just go out, come back, we can travel wherever we want, lovey-dovey all around. Now that we have children, what's the strategy that we need to imbibe to be able to
still maintain and grow as a
couple? You know, so that I don't become married to the children and he becomes married to work. You know, that's strategy. And then
and the convention will be, we used to.
No, that's why you need to. That's why you need strategy. You know, I need to create routines and all of that. So if you are, then they also say for newlyweds, if you just got married newly, what's your strategy to build your bonds, to draw closer and to really, you know, get to know yourself and really connect together? You could say, oh, we don't want to have children for the next 1 year, 2 years. I know that's not common in Nigeria, but in other parts of the world it is. You know, and they say we don't want to have children for 1 year, 2 years, so that we can really just enjoy our marriage, you know, and do whatever it is we want. It's a strategy. Or we say in the first 2 years or first 1 year of our marriage, we don't want any relative to live with us. You know, and you agree as a couple and you say, except there's a big reason why that has to change. And so we don't, so that we can really connect. So those are strategies. Then, okay, maybe my wife used to, or my husband, we used to have more time, you know, when we're by ourselves. But now we have children. There's a lot to clean. There's a lot to wash. What's the strategy? Getting a washing machine or getting help. All those are strategies that you want to imbibe. You know, what's our strategy for dealing with our in-laws? You know, when there's family interference, what's our strategy? Do we allow, you know, family members come to live with us and make input into our marriage? Those are strategies. And then you also have the technical crew. Technical crew is who I am. Apart from the fact that I play Marital Formation because I'm a married woman, I'm in the technical crew because technical crew, these are coaches. These are instructors, people that are able to guide you through, you know, through all this process of skills, vision, values, fitness, team spirit, understanding, continuous development, you know, strategy. These are coach will help you, you know, to be able to, that level of awareness that you want can be awakened by your technical crew, because you might be blindsided. You may think that everything is just okay, especially if you have a spouse that doesn't like, maybe they've seen that when they talk every time that you don't listen. And so now they've just, because sometimes some couples think because they are together in the same house, everything is okay. It's because you're in the same house and maybe you're probably talking, doesn't mean that you are still there. There are some couples that we mentioned at the beginning of this conversation about couples that are just managing to survive, you know, those are the people in a mid-table teams, you know. So it's a technical crew that will help you. It's a technical crew that will help you even determine if your formation is formatting. Let me use that one. Whether your formation is formatting, whether it's a winning formation, because when it comes to formation, this formation, they're up to how many? You have to know whether are we really keeping to this formation? As in, are we really at the point where we want to be?
Is each of this thing fits?
Yes.
Are they doing what they're supposed to do?
So this technical crew, it's not just any technical crew, because it'll be like, I have one friend that has been married for 10 years. This my friend knows things about marriage. See, let me tell you, that your friend her husband does not have the same personality with your own husband. And her love language may not be the same with your love language. Her background may not be the same as your own background, your own experiences, your own environment, because there are so many factors involved. Because I know that in Africa we like to give unsolicited advice, you know, and there are some people that by God's grace they spill out wisdom, you know, but there are sometimes that what people say may not, maybe the advice they give you may not apply to you at that time.
And there may be a bias.
There may be a bias in what they are saying. So a technical crew, as coaches, we don't take sides when it comes to issues pertaining a husband and a wife. We don't take sides. Whatever, if you like, tell us that your husband murdered somebody. We don't take sides. We are not biased. Our own goal. What is your goal? What do you want to achieve at this time? Do you want to check out? Do you want to remain? Do you want to find personal bliss? And all of that. Do you want to win championship? So that's why we are here. And so it's important that you understand that this technical crew, they're actually technical crew, and there's a level of technicality that goes into it. Yeah. So this person must be somebody that wants to really see you win. It's very important. So don't go and meet your brother, sister, father, mother. If your parents are people that are maybe counselors, they have the right, heart towards you, and you feel like you're more comfortable, fine. But we always plead with people to please see a professional, a coach or a mentor or a professional, somebody that can really help you attain the level of bliss that you want to attain. I think we can stop sharing the screen so that they can see our faces. Yeah. Somebody that you people can listen to, that you can both respect. So that's why I always tell even single people, please do not marry somebody that is not teachable, because this is where this technical crew comes in. Both spouses must be teachable. There must be people that like to learn, and not just learning when it comes only to their profession. They like to learn. My husband loves to learn. Not saying me, I don't like to learn, but he says it all the time. I love to learn. I love to be led. And so if there's any area that he needs to develop, whether it's marital, whether it's professional, he gives it the same level of energy. So that's where the technical crew comes into place. And it's so critical that every couple understand the formation, that they play, because sometimes even if you want to really win as a couple, you want to win championship, you want to thrive as a family, sometimes couples don't know how to go about it. And this formation is exactly how to go about it. And if you need maybe a professional, we have so many professional practitioners, in the family systems space, which is what we just taught you, is mostly the family systems approach to family life harmony, and so if you need a professional to point you out, to say, okay, do you have the skills? Do you have a vision, value? These are things that we help you know whether you really have values. We help you know whether you really have vision, because some of your vision is not visioning, and some of your values, you're not keeping them. Because you say, integrity, and tomorrow you're lying. It's not your value, because something that is your value is something that you really, really do, you practice. So these are the things that are necessary. And this formation cannot be done alone. And this is why we had this conversation, because we are having situations where couples are living isolated. You're a couple, but you're isolated, as in you're independent. And that is not God's standard. That is not any standard, if you want to build something that is thriving and that is worth it. Even if you don't want to do it for yourself, let's say it's like, I don't want to, your children, what are you teaching them? Because right now they're in your hands. They are learning what it is to be married from you. And even if you don't even say it with your mouth, you don't mention it, they are catching on to your energy. Children take a lot of emotions, and a lot of energy from what is going on, not just what you say. They can feel your emotions, and whatever you are doing in your family it's shaping how they think, it's shaping what they believe, and it could either work in their favor, or it could work against them, because they may see maybe your marriage is not thriving, and they're like, I promise myself my mind will not be like my parents' own. And they pursue everything that they do, get every knowledge that they can to be able to make sure that happens. Or they just see, this is my dad used to abuse my mom, so it's a normal thing. So this man can abuse me from now to tomorrow. Is love. That's what you say. So it's there's a need for couples to take one person in a marriage cannot be the one, cannot take this formation. I cannot be the one having the skills, being the one seeing the vision of the family, keeping the values. It doesn't work. If we're not doing it together, it doesn't work. And so we always encourage couples. It's teamwork. I don't even say marriage is work anymore. Marriage is teamwork. Because when you say work, it's as if because sometimes one person is the one doing the work. But it's teamwork. You work, I work. We both bring in equal impact contribute into building our marriage. And so the last slide I'm just going to share is for you to be able to assess yourself, and know, am I building a dream team? Because this is how you will know if you are building a dream team indeed.
Wow. Amazing. Yeah, it's coming up.
Yeah. So these are the questions you will ask yourself if you want to determine if you are building a dream team, and why you may be as sincere as possible in answering this question. You answer this question, and to yourself, you may think that you're actually building a dream team, but I tell you, it's a professional, and I'll keep saying it. A professional can help you determine if you are really building a dream team, because beyond this question, there are a lot of questions, assessments that we can do for you that will help you to really determine, are we really having the right formation to build it, to win championship? So for a dream team, you're saying, are you a dream team? So we know why we got married. You know why you got married. You have a clearly written down vision and mission for your family. Both you and your spouse, you know your vision. You have your values. These values is what drives your behaviors and your attitude. They determine the things that you do. Your vision, your values, they determine where you go, what you do, the things you say, the way you behave. These are the things that you have if you're a dream team indeed. We regularly sit down to discuss our relationship and how to resolve issues. We're not only sitting down to discuss children, school fees, rent, and all of that. We are also sitting down to ask ourselves, okay, so how are we doing? My husband used to always ask me, are you happy? All the time. Yeah. Are you happy? And all the time I say, why is my husband asking me, am I happy? Are you happy? Yeah, but he really wanted to know whether I'm happy. And it's a question that some couples may find it difficult to ask, because they're afraid of what the response may be. Yeah. And some people don't even know whether they are happy. If you ask someone now, when was the last time you were truly happy? You in your home, in your marriage. For some people, you only see their children in that picture. You won't even see their spouse. So you have to always ask yourself, how is our relationship? How are we doing? And then do you understand each other? You understand your needs, your tendencies in terms of your personalities and your love language, so you're able to know these things. So do we have a routine, rituals, things that we do? We go out every Sunday, or every once in a month we go on a vacation, just us or with the kids, whichever, but we have a routine, we have a ritual, we have things that we must do. That's fitness that we must do to keep our marriage, thriving. And of course, all of these things can be determined you can determine it by yourself, really. You can do a self-appraisal to know whether all these things are present in your marriage right now. And if you feel you can't figure it out, you can always reach out to us, to try to figure out whether you're actually having the formation that is required to win championship, and you will win.
Wow. Oh my God. This has been amazing. This has been amazing. And the last word you said is to be able to, evaluate. Are you a dream team? And like I said, when we started, every team started out with equal opportunity. Every team started out, but they are different. There are things that make the difference at the end of the day. Yeah. And those are the things, the formation. Yeah. And
then there are some teams that also win championship today, then tomorrow.
They are back. They are close to relegation.
Because they begin to relax. Complacency comes into marriage, and we feel like we don't need to really be putting in much work anymore now. So you don't want to be, in that table of mid-table teams who just want to,
just post around.
And there's something that I was reading recently that really, touched me. And I said, it's like a lot of church folks are in this space, right now. There's something that we call brethren, in family systems where, couples are just together, because they just need to show face that they are together. You will see them in church, you will see them, do things, activity, another thing, but things are not okay. And so they are just barely, surviving, but it doesn't have to be that way. If no matter where you are on the table, or you're not on the table at all, if if a couple can come together and say, we're going to make this work, and they put in they commit to it, they put in the intentionality required, it will work. It will work. You can move from relegation to championship and be winning championship yet and be coaching other teams to also win. I say so. It's very, very, very important. So let's not forget what we talked about. A marriage is like a football team playing year in, year out with an agenda to win championship. And you must be intentional about the quality of players that are playing. The ability to blend in as a team is very important. Superior playing patterns, very important. And your tactical formation. Of course, we've talked about formation. So you cannot lose again in my. And if you need further details, this particular model is very comprehensive. But of course, we can't cover everything, we plan to even do an hour. So we can't cover everything, within this space of time. But if you have more questions, you feel like you need to speak, further, we are available. You can reach us on our social media platforms or via for those that know us, you know how to reach us.
Yeah. You could just send what are the platforms to engage us on Instagram, and I think on Facebook too. You could drop a message. Try Family Network.
Facebook, Try Family Network.
You could just check Try Family Network on Facebook.
Yeah, if you're on our YouTube channel, you can leave a message.
In
the comment section.
I would definitely get in touch with you. Yeah. So for everyone, this is an opportunity to live your dream again. You want to go over the recording again, get those points that you might have missed out, and begin to work at it, and it will definitely yield results. And what an amazing job you did tonight. Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
And don't forget the technical people. They are very important. You can't do without them.
We are good at what we do.
So they see beyond what you are looking at, and they are able to give you the necessary advice. In the multitude of counsel, there is safety, but not just any kind of counsel. The right counsel, and you don't need to do life alone. There are people who have been trained. I mean, these people, they have been trained.
And we have a lot of tools.
A lot of tools.
That can help you, because most times when couples come into, coaching or counseling or anything, some of them don't really know what it is that is really going on. But we have tools that can help you really know where the problem is. Is it a beliefs issue? Is it a personality issue? Whatever it is.
Yeah. So as an engineer, when you talked about tools, I understand it clearly. Yeah. The difference is that it saves you time.
Yeah.
It saves you energy.
Exactly.
You are able to diagnose what is really wrong. Right.
Yes.
Not just assumptions.
That's the word.
It takes away. Diagnose. Yeah. Right. And not just assumptions.
You are engineers.
Yeah. Of course. By proxy and by association.
So you are.
Yeah. But you are family systems engineer.
So we diagnose.
Engineer Duffy.
We do what? We diagnose. We troubleshoot.
We repair. We return back to manufacturer's design.
And I
say thank you
for joining us and for being here. We are so happy that you joined us, whether you are watching us on YouTube or you are here or in the Zoom,
or rebroadcasting,
or you are watching this again.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining, and we are rooting for you. We've been winning championship for the past almost 12 years. Oh, sorry. So we're winning for almost 12 years now. So we are rooting for you. It is possible to win championship year in, year out. Keep carrying that cup, keep thriving, keep winning. So we believe that it is possible for you too.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Have a lovely evening and a great weekend ahead.